And we are live. Welcome back, everyone. Ladies and gentlemen, we are live today. Let's put some music back, yeah? We like to have some music in the background. Hopefully, everything is working fine and you guys can hear me. You guys can see me. You guys can hear some music in the background. And we're gonna see a few things together today. We're gonna have a look at PDFs together. But before we get started, I just want to say welcome to all of the new subscribers. I recently hit 20,000 subscribers on this YouTube channel, so thank you very much for that. I wanted to do a live stream to also celebrate the 20k milestone and obviously deliver a new live lesson here on the channel. And like I did, possibly last month, I believe. But if you are new on the channel, this could be the first time that you see a live stream. So thanks for tuning in and welcome back to the channel. Okay, so in these live streaming lessons, we're gonna cover usually one or more chord progressions. Particularly today, we're gonna look at one chord progression on acoustic guitar. We'll be playing this finger picking, and then what we're gonna do together, we're gonna practice. Okay, we're gonna practice with a drum beat, we're gonna practice with a metronome and all of that. And we're gonna see three different levels. As you probably saw already in the thumbnail, we're gonna see three different levels of this chord progression. And but first we're gonna warm up together, so take this as an actual practice session that we can all do together. So if you guys happen to have an acoustic guitar or an electric guitar, because this chord progression is great on both acoustic and electric, feel free to grab your guitar, tune your guitar, standard tuning of course, and then you can join me and practice with me, okay, for the next half an hour or so. Okay, guys, I see that there are some comments already, so thanks very much for that. I will pull some of them on screen as I did last time, so that we can also have a chat. And if you guys have any questions, obviously leave them in the comments, actually in the live chat box, and I will pull them on screen from time to time to answer your questions. Feel free to write where you are from, what's your name, and we can have also a Q&A session during the practice. Okay, I'm gonna pause the music now. Yeah, okay, that's great. And before we start, let's go through a few announcements. The first one is that during the entire live stream and during this entire Easter weekend, we're gonna have a promotion on the channel, where you can find a 10% off my entire merch store. So if you are interested in any of my sample packs or merch, you can head on my website, and with the discount code, what is it, TBG10, you can get a 10% off. Okay, and the other thing I want to mention is that for today's live stream, we are gonna have once more a full tab available, which is I guess here. Okay, you can see what you can get for free. So guys, this is hosted on my Patreon page, but this is completely free, so you can just head on my Patreon and literally download it for free and follow along. But you will also be able to practice with me with the chart, with the PDF containing the music notation and the tab on screen. So what I mean is that we're going to have a look at things like that while we practice, and then we're going to have an entire scene, which is this one, where you guys can see all of the exercises. So it's going to be quite good for you to follow along and practice with me. Okay, so before we start, I also want to say yeah, I'm reading some comments now, and yes, I will see yeah, in a few seconds I will get back to you guys in the comments, and I will reply to some of them. Yeah, but once more, thanks for tuning in, and happy Easter weekend if you happen to celebrate Easter, or happy bank holiday weekend if you are in the UK. Here we have a long bank holiday weekend, or public holidays if you are elsewhere in the world. And now we are ready to start. So I will start from showing you guys once more here. I always get the wrong side. How the PDF that you can get for free in the description below on my Patreon page will look like. It contains a couple of warm-up exercises and obviously the three levels, okay, of the chord progression that we're gonna learn today. Okay, it's a neo-soul, R&B neo-soul chord progression. It is in the key of E minor, okay, and you guys will find the tab with the chord diagrams and everything else. Now I'm gonna start from the warm-up, and then we are gonna get into the 3 levels of this chord progression, and we're gonna practice this chord progression with a drum beat, a neo soul drum beat that I prepared. We're gonna test if you guys can hear the drum beat in a minute. In the meantime, it would be great if you guys can tell me if you can hear my voice well, if you can hear my guitar well as well. As you can see, I'm using my Lavami 3 and I'm plugging in the guitar. So right now you are hearing this guitar from 2 different sources. One is this microphone, which is capturing my voice and the guitar in the room. So essentially you hear it as a true acoustic guitar through the sound hole picked up by the microphone. But this is also plugged in, so you can also hear my guitar coming through the system, through my audio interface directly. And as you can probably see in a minute here on my display, I'm using an IR, which is an impulse response, which makes the sound of the guitar a little bit better than what you would get if you just connect it straight to your audio interface, and all this is built in with the guitar. Okay, so let's get, guys, into the core of today's lesson. I'm gonna start by having a look at the first warm-up exercise, which is this one where we can get familiar with the chord progression. The chord progression, as you can see, is in E minor. We are in standard tuning, and the 3 chords that we need are C major 7, okay, then we need a B7, all right, and then we need an E minor 7, okay. So we're just gonna start with a warm-up, like every practice session should start from a warm-up, okay? And the warm-up is literally just getting familiar with the chords, making sure that we understand these chords, so that we understand that we are in the key of E minor, and we understand the positions and how to play them. We are gonna play them obviously in finger picking, so we're gonna use thumb, index, middle, and ring, and I'm gonna literally start by just plucking these chords. As you can see, I'm gonna go C major 7 for 2 beats, then B7 for 2 beats, okay, and then E minor 7 for 2 beats. I'm just plucking 4 strings every time that I play these chords, okay? So I can count something like 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 1, 2, 3, 4 again, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, guys, so these are just the chords. It is a warm-up, so we just want to know these positions to get started. But we can also talk about the music theory, because yeah, we said that this chord progression is in the key of E minor, but we can also say something more about these 3 chords. For example, we can talk about the chord numbers for this chord progression. Well, if it's in E minor, the E minor 7 will be the 1 minor 7, right? But what about the other 2 chords? Well, the C major 7 is the flat 6 major 7, because every minor key has a flat 6 degree, which is the 6th note of a minor scale, and the chord that you find there is a major 7, so flat 6 major 7. The next one, which is a B7, it's the 5/7 dominant, okay, which is a common thing that we do in R&B and neo soul, but also in many other styles, from jazz to pop, literally everywhere. Even though you are in a minor key and you may expect the 5 to be a minor 7 chord, it's very common to find it as a dominant 7 chord. If you guys are familiar with something like the secondary dominant chord substitution, you may think of a secondary dominant, or if you guys are familiar with scales like the harmonic minor scale, you may already know that when you harmonize these minor scales, you actually get on the 5 a dominant 7th chord. Particularly, you get a dominant 7 altered chord, okay? And we're gonna see in a minute how important it is for us to make this chord altered. So if we go back to the first warm-up exercise, as I said, you can see the chord diagrams, you can see the tab with the chords and the music notation, of course, and you can see key of E minor, flat 6 major 7 to 5/7 to 1 minor 7, okay, which is the chord analysis. Because if you guys are familiar with this channel, you may know that I like to talk about the music theory of the chord progressions that I show on the channel. So once more, flat 6 major 7 to 5/7 dominant to 1 minor 7. Alright guys, and now let's practice this again. We are gonna count 1 bar off and we give it a go. Again, if you have an electric or an acoustic guitar with you, just grab it and practice with me. So we can go like 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4 again. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4 and 1, 2, 3, 4 and 1, 2, 3, 4 again. 1, 2 and 3, 4 and 1, 2, 3, 4. Alright guys, hopefully this makes sense. We can now stop sharing this. As I said guys, I don't know if you were here from the beginning, but there is a free tab and music notation available for this lesson that you can download and you can look at to follow along to this video and practice with me if you don't want to rely on what's on screen all the time. And you find it for free on my Patreon page. The link is in the description below. You just go there. You don't need a Patreon account. You don't need to be a patron or anything like that. You just go there, click download, and you get your file in your computer and you can follow along. Okay. Now, as I said, this was just a warm-up, okay, just to get familiar with the chords, having the chance to introduce the key and the chord numbers, and also making sure that if some beginner is watching, maybe they can still follow along because they saw the introduction to the chord diagrams and the finger picking pattern, which is, as we said so far, just let's pluck 4 strings simultaneously. Okay, now it's time to have a look at the second and last warm-up exercise. Same chord progression, but we are finally introducing the B7 sharp 5. Okay, so now we are saying that the 5/7 dominant, okay, in a minor key, it's often an altered chord. So all we do is just looking at the 5th of this chord, which is the which is the highest note that you play, and we make it altered, we make it augmented, so it's a B7 sharp 5. Okay, a B7 sharp 5 is written commonly as a B+7 because B+ is the it's the augmented triad that you find on B, so B augmented triad with a flat 7 to make it a dominant 7 altered. Okay, so now we are ready to play the actual chords of this chord progression: C major 7, B7 sharp 5, and the E-7 that we were already playing. Okay, so in this second warm-up exercise, we've got the actual chords that we'll be playing in the 3 levels of the chord progression that we practiced today, but we also have a new technique because rather than just plucking these chords, we are now playing arpeggios, which guys, it just means that I prepare my chord here on my left hand and my right hand is now playing the same strings with the same fingering, but I'm going 1 string at a time, doing thumb, index, middle, ring. Okay, so 1 E and A, and then there is a stop. For now, I put a rest in the transcription, but for now, guys, we can either stop the chord doing this, or you can also let the chord ring, move to the next one, and so on. Okay, so don't worry about the rest. We'll have plenty of time to discuss together how we can get a great tone during the rest, by playing a percussion. Okay, so I just want to show once more that this is the fingering that I like to play for the B7 sharp 5. Some other people may want to use 2 fingers. That's equally fine, so I leave this completely up to you guys. Okay, so let's practice together this second warm-up exercise, and once more, if you have any questions, you can leave them in the chat and I will get back to you very soon. So now we can count like 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1 E and A, 2 E and A, 3 E and A, 4 E and A, 1 E and A, 2 E and A, 3 E and A, 4 E and A. And A, 2 E and A, 3 E and A, 4 E and A, 1 E and A, 2 E and A, 3 E and A, 4 E and A. As I said, if you want to let the chords ring, that's equally fine, and that would be like. okay? One last piece of advice, because guys, this is still a warm-up part of the lesson. I just want to make sure that you make all of these chord changes as smooth as possible, okay? Which essentially means that you should be keeping all of your fingers really close to the fretboard of your guitar, okay? From here, I don't lift the fingers and then get the chord from scratch, but rather I keep my fingers really close and I almost slide them all to essentially get the chord that I'm looking for, and then I try to find rotations and anchor points, you know, to go to the next chord. Okay, so hopefully this makes sense. As I said, let me know if you have any questions. I will look now at a few comments before we get into the core of this lesson, which is the 3 levels of this chord progression in a neo-soul style. Okay, guys, so let me see. Okay, thanks so much, guys, for all of these comments. Thanks really for tuning in and for joining this lesson. And oh, some of you were actually improvising while the music was playing in the background. That's great, William. Where are you guys from? Brazil here. Hello, guys. And okay, so there is this question that I didn't see earlier, which is, can you demonstrate a chord progression from simple to complex? Well, guys, you are in the right place, because this is exactly what we're going to be doing today in this lesson, okay? Hi, Victor, and thanks, William, for letting me know that you guys can hear me well. You said the audio is perfect. Onyx Effects, thanks you very much, guys, for this feedback. Really important, because, you know, as you can imagine, there is a lot of technology involved in this type of live stream, and you're never sure until you're live whether everything is working as it should. Okay, so it's great to hear that everything seems to work fine so far. We're gonna try now with the 3 levels of this chord progression. If you guys can also hear a drum beat that I prepared that I would like to use to practice together. Okay, so now let's get into the 3 levels. I'm gonna go here where you guys can see that here we are gonna have all of the parts of this PDF that you can find on my Patreon page for free. So that means this is what we already practiced as the start of it, which is essentially, don't know where it went, sorry, I'll pull it up again, which is this one, which is essentially where you guys can find the chord numbers and the diagrams for this chord progression. And then we said, okay, let's pause this, let's go to the second warm-up exercise. Let's actually make that B7 a B7 altered, so sharp 5, okay? And now the next step, guys, is getting into the level 1 of this chord progression. As I said, we're gonna start simple, and we're gonna slowly add nuances and other typical things of neo-soul and R&B guitar. Okay, so the first one that we are gonna do is essentially get a percussion anytime that we have the 2 and the 4. Why the 2 and the 4? Because the 2 and the 4 is where we usually have the snare of the drum kit, okay? And that's what we want to imitate on guitar when we do this kind of stuff. So it's very different whether you just played your arpeggio and let the chord ring, or maybe played your arpeggio and stop it with your left hand, or, that's what we're gonna do now, create this, which is a groovy percussion on 2 and 4, to make it really interesting. Okay, guys, so essentially the way you count it is like 1, 2. Okay, 1 is where you play the 4th, 16th notes of the arpeggios, and 2 is where you instead go and play your percussion, which you can do with your hand here, with your slap, with your thumb. I mean, slapping it, up to you, several ways of doing it. I hope that when I slap this way, it doesn't get too loud for you guys. Let me know that in the comments as well. And so yeah, if you guys are familiar with counting in 16ths, you may already realize that this can be counted in 16th as 1E and a 2. Okay, this kind of thing, 1E and a 2. Obviously on 2 you can say 2, you can say 2E and A, which is the full counting in 16ths, but that's completely up to you. We're gonna hear now with the drum beat that we try to have a laid back approach, a laid back feel to the groove to make it really R&B, okay? Like 1E and A, 2E and A, 3E and A, 4E and A. Okay. Now it's time to have a look at what is going on in this level 1 really, okay? So in this level 1, we're gonna have a couple of new things, okay? One is the percussion, which we already discussed. And the second one is that when we get to the E minor 7, we start implementing some of the embellishments that you find all the time on my videos and elsewhere when you hear something R&B and neo soul. So what are these embellishments? I'm talking about hammer-ons. This kind of stuff, which is much more cool, I mean, than this or this, okay? So I'm just doing my 4/16th note arpeggio, but on the last 16th, I'm doing a ta-da, okay, between the 7th and the 8th fret, as you can see from the tab. I hope that the tab is good for you guys, that you can actually see it well with this kind of graphic. Essentially, it's a hammer-on between the 2nd degree or 9th of the chord and the minor 3rd, doing this kind of stuff. Okay, it becomes quite quick and quite groovy when you do it, followed by the percussion too, like okay, kind of like this. Okay, and then the second time that we play this chord, instead, we don't do it, okay, because like all of the nice things that we can practice, we don't want to abuse them. We don't want to do that too often, because if you do it too often, it's not gonna sound that good. It's like cooking with a nice spice and then using that spice everywhere. You're not gonna enjoy your plate, your food, your dish, okay? So now, if we practice this without any metronome or drum beat first, the level 1 of this neo soul chord progression goes like 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a... Okay. Now it's time to give it a go with the drum beat and see if you guys can hear the drum beat, okay? I'll start playing the drum beat. The drum beat, guys, is 75 BPM, okay? I would really appreciate if any of you could let me know in the chat if you currently hear a drum beat, because it's in my headphones and I want to make sure that you guys can hear it as well, okay? So please let me know that. Okay, I will assume for now that you guys can hear it, so we'll start counting with this drum beat. So 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, great stuff, Lorenzo. Thank you so much. Let's highlight this comment which says I hear it. Okay, thank you. That's really much appreciated. Okay, so it's a nice drum beat. Okay, neo soul R&B drum beat, and I want you guys to hear where the snare of the drum kit plays 2 and 4, like 1. Okay, this was the fill. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. If any of you guys is familiar with how you play drums, you may know why I was doing this kind of way of, you know, imitating the drums, because the sound of it was the right of the drum kit. So it was like dun, 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 the 8th notes on the right, and then the snare, you know, the snare that you usually play with your left hand if you're right-handed, on 2 and 4. Okay, so thank you, Jay, for confirming that. That's really helpful. So now let's get the drum beat again. Let's start counting and practicing with it, guys. Obviously we could do that with a metronome. Okay, I want to show you how with a metronome this would sound like. I'm gonna mute the drum beat and just get the metronome. Hopefully you guys can hear the metronome. If you want to confirm that, that would be great. But I hear now the 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, that's a cool way of practicing that I'm sure that most of you are familiar with, which is just use a metronome. What's better than using a metronome? Using a drum beat, because it has the same function, but it will sound more musical. So it's going to be more engaging, more fun to do all together, I believe. Okay. Yeah, so let's give it another go. I will play the drum beat. We can even switch drum beat later if you like to hear another one. But for now, I will just keep this one here, and I will go like this. Oh yeah. Right. So let's count first. So 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay guys, so the nice thing in my opinion of practicing with a drum beat is that you can jam with a drummer for free, and you can get into not just the right timing, which I'm assuming you guys are cool with, but the actual feel. So the way you should feel the beats and understanding where to play, behind, ahead, all of that kind of stuff to stay into the laid back groove, laid back feel that we often mention on the channel when we practice this kind of chord progression. Okay, now I'm gonna switch one last time to the main scene where you guys can see me, and I'm gonna keep the tab on top first and practice one last time with the backing track with the drum beat. Okay, and then we're gonna do that without the tab so that you can see me as well. So 1 2 1 2 3 4. Alright guys, I'm gonna pause the drum beat now. I'm gonna get rid of this so that I'm gonna do this to get rid of that so that you guys can see me. I hope that you're still here, that you're enjoying this lesson. Hey Storm, how you doing? Didn't know you went live, and hey everybody, hey to you. And if you guys didn't know that I was going live, I would suggest a couple of things which are completely free. The first one is join my newsletter, because the main way I communicate when I'm going to be live is via a newsletter. I don't spam anything. I'm just gonna send you like once a month a reminder of what's going on the channel, like for instance free live streaming lessons. So if you feel like you want to be, you know, updated when a new live streaming is coming, you can just subscribe to my newsletter. It's in the description below. You can find all of my contact details and the other pages of mine that you can follow, like Instagram and stuff, in the description below. So check it out. And if you follow me on Instagram, you guys may have seen the story, the Instagram story, where I show that there was a countdown announcing that I was going live, okay? And also, thank you very much, Azrael, I hope that I pronounced that correctly, for subscribing. Good stuff. Thank you very much, and thank you everybody, you know, for joining this live streaming, but also for subscribing to the channel. As I said at the beginning, I don't know how many of you were already here. I recently hit, just a few days ago, 20,000 subscribers on the channel, which is a nice milestone, and I wanted to celebrate that with you on this Easter weekend with this live streaming lesson. Okay. And now guys, we are ready to get into the second level of this chord progression. So let's go into here. As you can see, there is still on screen the level 1. I'm gonna get rid of that and now pull the level number 2. If you guys have already downloaded the PDF, you know, the free PDF for this lesson, you may already have seen what's going on in the second and third level of this chord progression. But yeah, essentially this is what we are gonna do now on the second level. Okay, so let's talk about it for a minute. Let's introduce this second level. Okay, now the chords obviously are the same because they are still the same, but there is something new happening. Okay, so let's get started from the first bar. In the first bar you find your C major 7 arpeggio and B 7 altered arpeggio, same as before, same percussion on 2, but this time I also like to play something else after the percussion, which is an eighth note. Okay, and it's an eighth note ghost note. So it's not a double percussion, right? Guys, I'm not doing this twice, I'm doing this once and then with my thumb, usually with my thumb, but you may want to use another finger, I play another note with the strings muted, and that results in a groovy, really groovy ghost note. And often, you know, when I show you guys on the channel a few chord progressions, I often play these kind of things, and you ask me, what is going on? What is going on in terms of percussions and ghost notes? And it's very hard to break this down when you are improvising something. So I wanted to make sure that we had now a reference in this level 2, okay? We already warmed up, we already went through the first level. It makes sense that we get into this as well. So how does it sound like? Instead of just doing my 4-note arpeggio percussion, I will do this: 4-note arpeggio, percussion, ghost. Okay. As you guys can see, I also put on which string I like to play the ghost. In this case, it's on the 6th string, but you can feel free to change that, okay? You could definitely use any other string you feel like you know, with your index on the G string. Why not? It just creates a nice groovy nuance on the offbeat of that percussion, okay? Hopefully this makes sense. Let me know, guys. Any questions, again, in the chat, and we're gonna address them in a minute. So, the first bar will sound like 1E and a 2 and 3 and a 4 and. Those are 2 8th notes, so I like to just say 2 and 4 and. But you may want to say 2E and a, or 4E and a, 4E and a, okay, on the end, because that's the offbeat, you're gonna do that ghost note, okay? So now let's talk about this. What's going on the second bar? Okay, the second bar starts with the E-7 arpeggio and the groovy hammer-on. Okay, do-do-do-da-da. Okay, percussion, usual ghost note, but now we have a surprise. The surprise is a new chord diagram, really, which is the F diminished 7th. I just realized that you guys may not see the name of this chord here, unfortunately. Okay, so we may even try live to fix this, but I'm not gonna be 100% sure if we can really do this. Yeah, let's just give this a go. Why not? Okay, so we are at the bottom, and we can do this kind of thing. I'm trying to pull the diagram, the chord name above the diagram live now, and hopefully I hope that you guys can see it. As I said, there's a lot going on all the time, so please let me know if you guys can see that this is an F diminished 7th. Obviously, when I prepared that, I prepared all of the scenes and all of that, and I made sure that you guys could see the diagram. I didn't realize that the chord name was above. So now you should be seeing that this is an F diminished 7th. I'm gonna show you that full screen now in a minute. You're gonna see everything, but I just want to say we have a new chord, okay? The new chord is F diminished 7th, a passing chord, a secondary diminished 7th chord, if you guys are familiar with these more advanced concepts. And essentially what we do here in the level 2 is just pluck all of the chord simultaneously, 4 strings, and we go like 3, 4, so that we don't feel overwhelmed by the presence of a diminished 7th chord, because not everybody knows these chords, and you may not be that familiar with them. So I wanted to have a level where we could just pluck this chord and get familiar with the shape. Then in the level 3 we're gonna get a little bit crazier and have a little bit more of fun, you know, with this chord, with this diminished 7th chord. So as promised, now let's switch back to full screen, yeah? And now, as I said, let's get the chart once more. So this is going to be the level 2 that we were talking about, okay? Now in this level 2, so what do we have? We have the C major 7, we said, percussion, ghost, then B 7 sharp 5, percussion, ghost, E-7 with the hammer on, like this, okay, percussion and ghost. As you can see, it's now on the A string that I like to play that, but as I said, feel free to play any other string. And then finally the F diminished 7th. Now the F diminished 7th looks like this. This is F, and that's the full diminished chord, diminished 7th chord, okay? So here we go. Okay, we're not gonna project that, we're gonna pluck it. So all together will be like 1E and a 2 Obviously, guys, if you feel like you can already follow this, that's amazing. I'm really happy about that. If you can't, feel free to watch the replay of this live streaming. Okay, so you can watch it later, you can watch it tomorrow, whenever you like. It's gonna stay on the channel, and you can slow it down and just have a look at what was going on, download for free the tab and practice with it. Okay, now as always, I'm gonna get back here. Sorry, yeah, that was that wasn't intentional, but it's just as a reminder, you know, that there is a promotion for the entire Easter weekend until Monday, where you can get 10% off my merch and sample packs on my website. The link is in the description below, and you can use the code TBG10. But I wanted to go here where we have the tab with the F diminished 7th. And now this we are gonna get now into the drum beat again. Here it is, 75 BPM with a groovy R&B beat, okay, drum beat. So we can go like 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2. Try to feel the beat. Ghost. Ghost. Okay, let's go full screen, yeah? And let's put the backing track, sorry, not the backing track, the tab with the backing track, and let's give it a go. There is the ride going on here. So 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Try to be as smooth as possible. I'm gonna get rid of this now so you guys can see me. I hope you have enjoyed the level 2 and that you are waiting for the level 3 so that you guys can see what's going on in the level 3. I'm gonna have a look at your comments. Storm, you just subscribed to the newsletter. That is very good, and if you guys haven't yet, do as Storm does, which is subscribe to the newsletter. It's free, and you know, I just let you know when something is going on the channel, like a live stream like this one. Okay, so that's great stuff, Storm. And okay, Azrael says, yeah, it was correct, but this is cool. Definitely have to sign up on Patreon. Thank you guys, thank you, Azrael. If you feel like you want to support this channel, the best way is to subscribe to my Patreon. As you can see here, there is the link, patreon.com/theguitarist, but you can see the link in the description as well. So that is by far the best way to support this channel. Thank you guys for all of these comments. You can see Lorenzo says it's a diminished chord. You are absolutely right, a diminished 7th chord. And lots of other comments. Awesome, thank you very much. Frankie asks about a video to know how to use the gum around the note, please. What do you mean the gum around the note? Yeah, let me know and I'll try to address that. It is a good lesson. Thank you very much for your feedback, and same to Thom. Thank you so much for your support, guys. Really appreciate that. And we have a question by Lorenzo. Let's answer this before we get into the level 3. Does a diminished chord half step higher always works as a passing chord? That is a fantastic question. Now, you can find more about this on the channel because I made a couple of videos. One is about the diminished 7 chords themselves, how they work, and why you can move them by 3 half steps and you're still playing the same chord. But there is also another one which explains something called the secondary diminished 7th chord substitution, okay, which is essentially what we are doing here. We are playing this F diminished 7th as the upper part of a G7 flat 9. So G7 flat 9 would be the secondary dominant in this chord progression. I'm going to pull the chord progression up from here, for example, where you guys can see it, where you guys can see the chord numbers essentially. And what I'm saying is, I want to go back to C major 7, not because C major 7 is the root, the tonic of this key. It's actually the flat 6 major 7, but it's the first chord progression, chord that we find in this progression. So I want to get back there after the E minor 7 with the secondary dominant of C major 7, which is G7. Now if I make it more interesting by spicing this up and making it a G7 flat 9, I can essentially get rid of the note G, and the G7 flat 9 is nothing but a diminished 7th chord now, and particularly a B diminished 7th, but also a G sharp diminished 7th, but also an F diminished 7th, and also D diminished 7th. So because it's also an F diminished 7th, after the E minor 7, I played F diminished 7. So I wouldn't say it always works half step higher. It depends on which chord you're going to. Because this time we were going to C major 7, then yes, it works when it's half step higher than the chord you were coming from. So E minor 7, this, okay. But guys, we're gonna have fun with this. Also, yeah, in the level 3. Let's just say this, okay. So we're gonna do a few interesting things. But yeah, the other thing, guys, is that if instead you want to get to the 1 minor 7, you can take as a reference to go half step lower rather than higher, lower than this chord, and you can get, for instance, this kind of move, okay, that I often show on the channel. Hopefully this makes sense, and if you guys have more questions about it, just let me know. Storm says you can move it around. You're essentially right. That's the point of a diminished 7 chord. It's a passing chord that you can move around by 3 half steps if you know how to use it. And Frankie says, or how to use note around chord if you understand me. Okay, I believe that you mean essentially playing embellishments or possibly melodies around it. And yes, it is possible to do that, but I made an entire video about it, which was out, I believe, last Saturday, which is how to use triads, you know, which were a type of chord, and play melodies or embellishments around them. So go watch it, because that is exactly where I talk about that, how you can play notes like melodies around the chords, okay? With 7 chords, if you are interested in that, there are also videos on the channel about it where I put together neo-soul chords and melodies. If you write neo-soul chords and melodies on my channel, you can find everything, okay? And thank you guys for asking these questions. It's a pleasure, and it's great to have a chance sometimes to interact with you and answer your questions live, because the only other way I have is to reply to your comments underneath my videos. And if you happen to be live with me from time to time, it's great to have an interaction, okay? But now let's get ready for the final level, which is the level 3 for today. So we're gonna switch back here and pull the level 3, which is this one. This time I cut correctly the chord diagrams so that you guys can see them live and can see them fine as well. So let's get started. So okay, the first bar doesn't change. Level 2 and level 3, they share the first bar. C major 7, percussion ghost. B7 altered, percussion ghost, okay? But then the next step is going to be the E minor 7, which stays the same, you know, with the hammer on, percussion, and the ghost note. And what's next? We got our F diminished 7, but this time now we are not just plucking it. We are arpeggiating the F diminished 7, and because we can move it, and some of you already said that, we are gonna slide it this time 3 half steps higher to A flat diminished 7 or G sharp diminished 7, call it however you like, which is still the same chord as F diminished 7. You slide it up, okay, on the beat number 4, and then you start again. So you go like 1 E and a 2 and 3 E and a 4 and 1 E and a 2 and 3 E and a 4. Okay, as you guys can see, because we are sliding to a flat diminished 7th, we can't use a percussion on the beat number 4 anymore. Yeah, we can't, we can't because we have to play the A flat diminished 7th on beat number 4. So what you can do instead, you can slide there. You can go 1, 3, E, and R4. Be smooth. So slow, no rush into the A flat diminished 7th. You play that chord. You kind of get a long sound because the other sounds are all 16th notes, when you play boo, 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 ba, all short sounds. But then when you get to this, you hear it for one entire beat, as you can read in the tab. And obviously you can see the chord diagram for the F diminished 7th and A flat diminished 7th are exactly the same. Okay, hopefully this makes sense as well. So now let's do the things in the right order with this level number 3, because this is the final level for today. I'm gonna pull not just the backing track, but I'm gonna start from using a metronome at 75. Okay, let's use the metronome. You should be able to hear it. I hope that you guys can hear the metronome. Let me know that. Okay, so let's go step by step. 1 bar only, the first one. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, thanks for letting me know that you can hear the metronome. Great. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and second bar now. E minor 7, F diminished 7th, A flat diminished 7th. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, the slide was a little too long now, sorry about that. Let's do it again. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, and we stop here. Once more. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's do now the whole thing together, counting the beats. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and see, guys, I hope that the metronome was alright with you and wasn't too loud. It's all about the nuances, okay? It's all about the slides, the way you play the ghost notes, the way you play the hammer-on embellishment, because you want to be smooth. Obviously, with the metronome, yeah, you can do that, but when you use a drum beat, everything is more real, okay? Because it's not a machine, it's actually a drum beat where somebody played it with some feel, and that's exactly what you do when you play with others. Okay, so now let's pull the drum beat. Okay, the first drum beat that we were using today, then I'm gonna show you another one at the end. Here we go, you should be able to hear it. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, here we go, 3, 4. Oh, that wasn't the right start, so here is where I wanted to start. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Yeah. When you guys get into the groove, it's very difficult to play without moving, right? So I always suggest tap your foot, move your body, and play with all of your body. 1. After the fill. 1. Okay. 2. 1, 2, 3, 4. Dynamic is hot now. Okay. Bum 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 bum. The ghost note. I like this. Okay, I played it for a little bit longer because this is the level 3 and you guys may want to come back to this live stream and practice with this recording of the live stream. Okay guys, so I'm gonna go back to the main scene where you can see me full screen. I'm gonna pull, as always, the transcription again, but this time, if you like, we can hear a different drum beat and use another one. Okay, I haven't listened to this for a while, but I figure we could have fun with it. So let's just try this together. Okay, let's get the tab on screen. That's level number 3. And you should be able to see quite large now how the chord diagrams work together with the tab. And this would be the next drum beat. In my headphones that sounded quite loud. I will assume that it sounded too loud for you too, and I will go down now, okay, because it was clipping a little. Okay, that's much better in my headphones. I hope that this is a better volume for you too. So here we go. Here is the second drum beat, and we're gonna do the same thing, counting first. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, I want to do something with you guys, because we haven't been doing this today yet, okay? As you know, this guitar has a built-in display with a few effects, and I was just using this, you know, this IR, impulse response that I saved, that I like to use when the guitar is plugged in. But I want to show you a reverb. Let's put some reverb on this guitar. I don't want to go too fancy. If you're interested in this guitar and the way it sounds like, you can find a full review on my channel with all of the sounds, but I just want to get a normal reverb, nothing too fancy. Oh yeah, there is some reverb now. Okay, I don't know if you can hear it. As I said, the reverb is coming from both the sound hole and from the fact that the guitar is plugged in. So you should be able to hear it both through this microphone that I want to touch and through my speaker. Okay. Sorry, not through my speaker, it's the same thing as the microphone, through my cable, I mean, which is connected to the audio interface. Hopefully it makes sense. If you have any question about this too, let me know. So I want to go back to this second drum beat and practice it together. I'm not gonna pull the tab on screen again. By now, guys, you should be you should have already downloaded the tab or probably learned the rhythm anyway if you're still here, still practicing with me, or maybe, you know, just interested in having a chat in a minute with me and then watch the replay to practice this, okay? So let's get started with the drum beat, okay? So here is the drum beat. 1, 2, 3, 4. This reverb, actually, this simple reverb, it's nothing fancy. There are some others which are incredible, really crazy, but I didn't want to use them today. I wanted to just try this reverb and then I will watch the replay as well to make sure that what you guys got live was a good sound, because in my headphones it sounded good. I hope it sounded good on yours as well, on your end, I mean, as well. Okay, let's get back to some comments. We've got Tom, which says, I'm definitely going to subscribe to your Patreon. That's amazing. Thank you very much, Tom, for your support. And thanks to everybody for your support on Patreon and for your support here. I mean, if you feel like supporting my work on Patreon, that's great. I would really love that. But if you feel like supporting me here on YouTube by, I don't know, liking this video, that's already enough. If you are here with me and enjoying some time together, I'm happy as well. Okay, if you then want more, if you want to get access to early access to the videos on YouTube and get, for instance, the full transcription in tabs and the music notation for everything I play in all of my videos, not just the live streaming, yeah, you can do so on my Patreon page. And there are a few other things. By the way, guys, I'm just gonna mention this because I usually don't, but if you like these type of lessons, if you like this type of, you know, breakdown lessons, and you would like to have one with me one-to-one, there is a way to do that. Okay, you can find a way to do this on my Patreon. So if you want to have a one-to-one lesson with me in, you know, by video or different ways, you know, there are some ways to do so on my Patreon, so you can check out the tiers, all of the tiers on my Patreon, and the last two are about this. But there are other ways as well that you can find in the description of this video. Okay, I don't want to get too much into that, but if you are interested, all of my contact details, including how to book a call with me, are in the description of this video, as well as the description of all of the other videos. Okay, just in case any of you was interested about this, I often receive Instagram messages about that, and you know, that's the best way. Just check out the description of my videos on my channel. Okay, Lenny says, hey Lenny, how you doing? These live lessons are exceptionally well laid out logically. Thank you very much, guys, for your feedback. That's really great to hear. And there is a question by somebody with an amazing anchor. As you can see, guys, I love anchors, so that's a great logo. And says, where is drum beat coming from? I guess the drum beats, both drum beats, are on YouTube, so you can literally write Neo Soul drum beat on YouTube and you will find so many free to use. They are royalty free, so you can use them to practice anytime. Okay. And Craig says, great stuff, thank you for sharing your knowledge. Thank you, Craig, very much appreciated, and thank you guys for being here with me and interact with me in this live streaming lesson. So I would like to do this now. I would like to play with the level 3 again, just to make sure that everybody has a go with this. Okay, if you're still here practicing with me. So I'm gonna cover my face now again, which means that you guys can see this. And yeah, let's pull now the drum beat. I'm gonna get the first drum beat though. Here we go. Yeah. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Three, four. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2. Alright guys, I'm gonna pause this backing track so that you can hear me alright. I'm gonna get rid of the tab as well, and I think that that's all for this live streaming lesson. Okay guys, Lenny is asking, by the way, when we're doing Bossa Nova live? That is an amazing question. That's a very good point. Okay, so if you guys want to see a live streaming lesson like this one, but on Bossa Nova, I did some in the past, to be honest, just let me know. You know, if there are more people interested, I would love to do one. Maybe we can go through a Bossa Nova chord progression next time, have a look at the diagrams, the finger picking pattern, if you guys love Bossa Nova as well. Okay, I would love that. Thanks, Lenny, for your question. Tonino, thanks, and thanks very much for joining today. Great to see you guys around. Frank is asking, I forgot, what is the BPM? The BPM is 75. So today, guys, to keep things simple, we only used 75 BPM for everything, okay, for the metronome and for both the drum beats that I played, that I used today. 75 BPM, which is a reasonable BPM. It's a BPM that you find very often in R&B and in neo soul. Okay, so yeah, that's what I used today. Okay, guys, if you have any other questions, that's the right time to leave them here, because then I'm gonna close this live streaming for today, and you guys can watch the replay of that to keep practicing, obviously. And if you have other questions in the future about this live streaming, just leave a comment, you know, and I'll get back to you. And Tom, thank you very much for your support. Always great to hang out with you as well, guys. And hey Zito, how you doing? And thanks from Frankie. Thank you guys, everybody. Thanks very much for tuning in and spending some time with me, for your questions. And as I said, you know, you can find this PDF for free. Okay, I should show you maybe how the whole PDF looks like. I can do that here maybe. Yeah, it's gonna be on this side. Did I get it right this time? Yeah, here. Okay, and you guys can see how the live stream exercise for the 16th of April, which is today, looks like. And obviously you can download this. It's not gonna be black, it's gonna be black only here to make it a little bit better to read while I'm live, but it's gonna be a normal PDF with a white background that you can download with the 2 warm-up exercises and the 3 levels that we went through today. As I said, it's completely free. Where do you find that? You find that on my Patreon page. There is a link in the description. Maybe I can pull it on screen. Let's see if I can also pull it on screen. This is it. Okay, so this is the link that you should be look for. Okay, so if you find this link, you click on it. You don't need to pay anything. You don't need a Patreon account. You don't need to be a patron of my page, and you can just get access to this, download it, and practice with me. Okay. As I said, Patreon is the best way to support my channel, but also if you want to support my channel, you can head to my merch website, where you can find all of my merch store, where there is a 10% off for the entire Easter weekend. Same for my sample packs. So if you guys are interested in maybe having my guitars in your recording, there are pre-made royalty-free samples that you can use, guitar samples that you can use. You can download them on my website. The link is in the description below, and with this code you can get 10% off. There are also other discounts for sample packs if you buy more than one at the same time. You can head on my website and find out more about it if you're interested. If instead you want a bespoke recording, guitar recording, as I said, there are ways to get in touch with me in the description of this video, and we can really have fun together, and I can record some guitars for you. I do that all the time remotely. Okay, and had your stream in the background, really appreciate it. Thanks Zito, thanks very much for your comment. I'm glad that you enjoyed. I hope you guys have enjoyed this live streaming and you have learned something from this chord progression. It was a way to show you how a chord progression can be practiced in about an hour together, starting from a warm-up, a chord analysis, and obviously the practice of the chords and the grooves with metronome and drum beats. Okay guys, that's all for today. As I said, thanks a lot for being here, and enjoy your Easter weekend. I will leave you with a graphic for as a thanks for watching, and I will be seeing you for another live streaming very soon. Have a great day, and thanks again for tuning in.